Hello everybody, it is Ebontis, and today we're going to go through the entire Mentat quest line from beginner, which is just unlocking the quest line itself, all the way through to the advanced to make sure everything is on the table. So first thing you need to do in your travels is make it to this base, and the location for that is going to be over here in southern Hagga Rift. You've got eastern Vermilius Gap, Hagga Basin over here, so eastern side of the map, and if you'll zoom all the way in. So basically, if you drive up here, you can drive into Hagga Rift. You're going to be just on the ledge above it, and you're going to be in Rift Watch. So location-wise, I'm looking straight at it here, looking back this way towards kind of the moons, as you can see. There's that big archway and kind of rock structure that's right here, this tall one right here. So this will just be the entrance, and all you really need to do is just run straight through this door, and then down a ramp, and it's on the back side. This will be our initial quest. We'll go through the steps, and again, timestamps will be below for everything you want to jump to. I'll try and label everything as detailed as I can. That's your contract session, and this should be your Mentat trainer right here. Alright, so the first step of the Mentat quest, the basics, is going to be First Blood, and what you're going to need to do is deliver 40 iron ore and 100 plant fiber to Zayn. So you've got 100, just go find them around. Same thing with iron ore. If you're looking for iron, or you get to this later or earlier, iron's usually an easy thing to find in eastern Vermilius Gap for sure, because it's all around my base, but I think mostly in this area is where you're going to be finding iron. You get carbon and other stuff up here, so any of this area is probably going to be a good place for iron. Plants, again, everywhere, just got to find them in their little groupings, bring them back to them, and we'll go ahead and deposit the plant fiber. We'll also deposit the iron ore.
Here, you know what to do next.
Alright, so after you've delivered the 100 plant fiber and 40 iron ore, we're going to plant the poison. Location is going to be in eastern Vermilius Gap, and if you see this big giant diamond structure that everybody's probably seen, it's where my base is actually. Behind the hammer, kind of on the northeast corner of the hammer, is where we're at. So I'm going to fly over there, give you a visual of where we're actually going to plant it, and we'll get to the next step and probably wrap this up pretty quick. Alright, so we've made it over here to the poison planting location, and what you're going to be looking for is Suck Elusus. Basically, if you zoom out on the map, it's behind the big hammer, northern entry. My base is actually here, like that's literally my base. So if you're coming from the northern side, you'll look for a couple of these awnings and even that thing way above if you're like flying around. And then you're just going to come straight up this middle area. You may have come through here before, where you may have seen like a little like sand bike over there, and you'll come right in this middle section right here. Now, as you come up, you'll usually have 2 enemies right about here, and then you have 3 or 4 more in this section. You can go up the stairs to the right, circle around through the whole area. Kind of works as a big area to actually pick up a lot of the orange materials if you're looking for any of those early on. It's a nice place to get them. But when you get into this room, you'll have a few enemies to pick off. And then over here, you're going to want to pick up this band right here. This one will let you in this door. And when you come in here, it's good to get the chest because there's some good materials in here. And you need to interact with this big container right here. Literally just interact with it. There's not even like place thing in here. You just interact, good to go. And the poison placement is done. So now that we're done with that, we're going to head back and talk to Zayn Moro for the Mentat basics, and this should wrap it up. So once you've planted the poison, head back to Rift Watch, and we'll go ahead and talk to our trainer. Completed my task. And we've actually got our first set of skills unlocked. After all, you can't simply become a Mentat. So, initial Mentat skills are now unlocked. You're going to be able to get the basics down here, work your way up the tree, but only to get to really level 1. And then these will get to an advanced. So that is the end of unlocking. If you've started as a Mentat, you should already have that available. Still probably need to talk to your trainer initially, just to like kind of break through the opening dialogue, and then now we're going to go to the advanced step. If you're just getting to the advanced stuff, now we're going to get that started. All right, now that you've got the Mentat initially unlocked, one thing I would recommend is not spending all of your skill points as you're kind of going through some of these quests. There will be certain skills you need, just like with some of the other trainers. So hold on to your skill points unless you just have a free respec available, and we'll use them when we need them, because you've probably got enough to get by for now. So to find the advanced trainer, you are going to need to be in Artemis. We're going to come up the entrance to the big lobby. We're going to turn over here into the bar. We're going to go downstairs. Finished up the trooper, so they're there now. But the Mentat advanced trainer is going to be right here in the back of the bar. What is this place called? the Seluzan Bowl. So we're going to talk to him and get our first quest. Alright, so the first thing we have to do is gain the trust of the advanced Mentat trainer. And what we're going to be doing is heading to the Anvil. First interrogating the Mobula gang member, and then going to the base and probably going to a station with film. So if you head to the Anvil, which if you'll remember is Eastern Vermilius Gap, just the main trade post here, we're going to walk in, and if you follow the compass, our guy should be right over here. So I'm going to talk to him, get through the dialogue. If there's any main things to point out, we'll do that, and then we'll go figure out where the base is that we're going to infiltrate. Alright, pretty simple. Click through his dialogue, then we're going to go interrogate the second member of the Mobula gang, and they are going to be over here at Riftwatch, over here at Southern Hagga Basin, so I'm going to fly right over there. Alright, so once you've made it to Riftwatch, I am on the southeastern side of Riftwatch. If you're going for a kind of point of reference looking this way, we're going to come up the ramp. You've actually got the original Mentat right here, and we're going to head over to the right past the vendor. And we're going to come over this direction. Again, you can follow the compass for a lot of these, but I figure I'd show you where they're at. If it's like before, I'm just going to go through the dialogue and figure out what's next. Alright, so after you get done talking to the second Mobula gang member in Riftwatch, he's going to give you the coordinates of where you need to go. You just follow kind of Hagga Rift up to here, and then to the west, you're going to be in Jabal Afrit al-Janub. Sorry for the mispronunciations as always. But you're looking for the little outpost called the Sweep. So I'm going to fly over there, and we're going to enter their base. Objectives on this one are going to be enter the base, search for information about other bases, find the Mnemic film maybe in another base. So right now we're going to head over to the Sweep, and that should get us the next step of the information that we need. Alright, so now that I've actually made it over here to the Sweep outpost, I'm just a little below it. Best walkable entrance is straight up from the southeast. Kind of this little corner down here, you'll walk up to it. I'm going to go through, clear it out, and I'm just going to find the location for the important materials and see what happens next. Alright, so I went through, cleared out the base just so I wouldn't get interrupted. It's actually not that bad. Once you kind of walk up to this area, you'll have quite a few enemies on multiple levels. If you want to get some of the good stuff that's in there, check all the chests, of course. But it's really not that you've got to go very far. Once you get up to about this staircase, the quest will probably change. I kind of jumped up from the side. And it's just over here on the table is all we really need to do. So we're going to grab this, and we've got information about another base. So let's see here. And now I've also got to sabotage the generator, which is right around this corner. Come up here. I wonder why I couldn't pick anything up from it. So we're going to go ahead and sabotage that one. And if we come back up here to our contract, now you're going to see we're going to find the Mobula Games Mnemic film, which looks like that's going to be pretty close, that we need to first sabotage the vehicle. So this one is back this direction. Probably a little strong for this mission, but the later you get to some of these, the easier they get to be. Pretty good. Alright. The vehicle is down here on the backside, and we're going to interact with that. Anything else we need to do here? Sometimes I wish these quests would update just a little faster. Alright, so search for the information first. Generator was around the corner. Sabotage the vehicle was back past that. Now we're going to enter the Chattel passage, and that is going to be hopefully circled up here. And this one is going to be, yeah, Chattel Passage Outpost. So we're going to head up here. It's basically about 1,000 meters to the northeast. So I will see you guys once you get up there. Right now, just head back to my copter. Clear this base out if you want to. Grab the goods. And then we'll move on to the next section. Alright, same thing as before. I'm going to enter it, figure out where things are at. And if there's multiple steps, we'll knock them out. Alright, so from the southeastern side that I entered on, you're going to be getting quite a few enemies coming your way as soon as you kind of alert everybody. So definitely make sure you have some firepower in here. This is the main structure that we're going to be looking for. So first thing we've got to do is get the Mnemic film. So first floor, just once you kind of get to these stairs, there's multiple above. All you got to do is get in here, turn to the left, find the gold foil suitcase. That will get us our Mnemic film. And the next step of the quest, they seem to want to give me multiple on these things. Yep. Sabotage the comms console. That is right above me, probably, or... Yep. So here's the comms console. The second floor, one above where you were. Sabotage that. And then look it on the compass if there's anything else. I think that'll do it. So now we're going to deliver the Mnemic film back to Zayn in Arrakeen. So fly back to Arakeen, and I will see you there. All right, back in Arakeen with Zayn. We're going to talk to him. If there's anything important in here, I'll let you know. Otherwise, we'll just get through the dialogue, and we'll see what the next step's going to be. All right, so once you talk to him, you're going to kind of earn his initial trust, and then you're going to start the next step of the quest, which is an olive branch. We're going to take the film that we got, and we're going to run it all the way back over here to another contact I've actually bumped into in a different trainer quest, but all the way back to the opposite side of the Arakeen city map. So go all the way west, up the stairs, through the open residence area, and we'll talk to the contact out there. All right, so we're at Thufir. We're going to talk to him, probably give him this information real quick.
I am a very busy man.
Give him our...
Zayn DeWitt. Yes. Thank you.
There we go.
Having this information allowed us to tell him that is all.
All right, so now we're headed back to Zayn, so we'll go right back there. All right, we're back at Zayn. So again, get through the dialogue. Should be able to move forward with the training. So now we've unlocked level 2 Mentat skills, so if you're going through the tree, you can get any skill that you've got up to the 2nd level when you have any of these options. And then now if we talk to him, we should be able to pick up our next step. So here's a point where I do want to mention certain things that you're going to need from here forward. Not maybe all right now, but at a certain point. You will need potentially a light because we could be going somewhere dark. You will need a radiation suit to finish this quest. It may be the last step because I'm still kind of working on putting all this together, but I know you need it. So if you are trying to make sure you can finish this thing completely, you know, start looking into the radiation suit, see what you need. You're also going to need a blood extractor and a blood sac so you can get blood that you need for his testing or whatever's coming next. So just a piece of advice there for the, like, items that you're going to need to be able to finish this. I think it's going to be dark somewhere. So a light, a glow tube, something. Radiation suit, I'm pretty sure is going to be towards the end. And then a blood sac and a blood extractor. Just make sure you've got them with you. You'll be able to do what you need. So the next step is going to be locating a specific deserter camp in Hagga Rift. That's going to be on the eastern side. So when you fly back into Hagga Basin, make sure you do it from the east or to northeast area. That's going to be the closest to it. So if you're thinking about a clock, picture it like 3 or 2. Probably just those 2 is probably closest. And that'll get you to Hagga Rift. We're going to collect blood samples, so you will need the blood extractor. And you're going to be able to take the blood samples back from the leader to Zayn. So we're going to go figure out where these specific items are located, and I'll guide you through step by step. Alright, so we are out here now in Hagga Rift, and we're looking for the specific deserter camp. Now, the thing to know about Hagga Rift, there's always all these levels to it. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to start on the edge right here. If you want to know where Southwest Bunker is, I'm kind of next to it and this mining facility number 7, looking down. So the one below here, this is 1 layer down, and you'll notice we've got a couple layers down to go. I'm going to do this in an ornithopter just so you can see it. But if you want point of references, you've got this tall structure here and this tall structure here. I'm literally looking at this and this. So I'm going to go forward and then I'm going to go down. Now you can glide all the way down without an ornithopter depending on where you are, but as you know by now, the ornithopter makes all of these quest steps much, much easier. I'm going to get to right about here and I am going to now land. I'm going to grab my ornithopter and put it away. So at this point, what we're going to do is I'm going to take out all of these enemies, collect blood samples from them because that's our goal in this area. Alright, so this part was pretty straightforward. I think the elite guy or boss of this area that you needed to take out was probably under me because he came out of that area. But we needed to locate the deserter, kill the deserter leader as well after we collect the blood samples. So kill some basic enemies, you gotta get 5,000 milliliters of blood. Now I'm using the Mark IV extractor, so it took 2 enemies, but however many you need to kill to get the 5,000 milliliters of blood. Then, kind of at the same time as I had finished up with the enemies that are out here, this is kind of like a tent covering, so there were some enemies around here. So I killed quite a few that were around here, and then the leader came out, and I saw him pop out right about over here, but he was probably just coming from underneath this area. Kill the leader, extract his blood, and then we're going to take it back to Zayn, so we're going all the way at this point back to Arakeen, and I will see you all there. So pretty straightforward. Again, Ornithopter helps a ton at this point. And again, remember when you're doing this quest, bring a blood extractor and a blood bag so you can make sure and acquire all of the blood samples you need. Back to Arakeen and Zayn, and I'll see you there. So we are back in Arakeen here, giving our blood sample to Zayn, and let's see what's next. Alright, so after you complete the cataloging defectors, you're going to get level 3 skills unlocked. And then we're going to talk to him and pick up our next quest. So just as before, we're going to deliver the results that we got from Zayn over to Thufir Hawat here in Western Arakeen. So I'm going to run over there, turn it in, and see what happens next. All right, so we're here to turn in the mimic film, see if he likes it or not.
I'm a very busy man. Unless you have some... I predicted this would happen. Though I... Well, bring me a mimic film, or do not.
All right, so we're going to head back to Zayn after turning in the mimic film. All right, so after you talk to Zayn, you're going to get your first capstone unlocked. So if you want to see which one that is, under Mentat, you're going to be able to get to Hunter Seeker now, which I think should be a cool one. All right, after you talk to him, he's going to give you the next step of the quest called the Price of Rejection. And this one's going to go to the Passage of Artemis. It is in the northern, probably almost northwestern, so you can almost enter at kind of like 11 on the clock with regards to Hagga Basin. You're going to look for the Passage of Artemis, and you're also going to need to make sure you get the actual skill Hunter Seeker, because as you see, you're going to need to use it. So if you need to do any skill resets or anything like that, you're going to need to actually unlock the Hunter Seeker skill. We're going to have to assassinate a certain informant, and then we'll report back. So let's head to the Passage of Artemis. Heads up, this is a PvP like little mini zone. So when you're there, kind of park your Ornithopter or anything you've got far enough away that it's in a PvE zone, and then run in. So I'm going to go park the Ornithopter in a safe spot, and we'll get to the next step. Alright, so if you've flown all the way out to the Passage of Artemis, we are in the western shield wall. This is why I said fly in at like 11 on the Hagga Basin map when you're in the overworld. And by the way, if you want to fast travel, if your base is like way down here, literally fly outside. And then when you're in the overworld, just come in at the 11 o'clock spot, and you'll be really close up here. My base is right here, and it pops you pretty close to my base, actually, my second base. So the Passage of Artemis up here, from where I'm standing way back here, is technically where the PvE ends and the PvP begins. You can see the zone change up top. So if you're bringing out Ornithopter or anything crazy, make sure you just park it outside over there so it's safe and you can at least come back to it. Second thing, you are going to need specific skills to be able to accomplish this mission. You are going to need Poison Mine, Hunter Seeker, and Solido Decoy. Now, my previous run through, a little bit of a glitch happened. I've actually been pretty good on most things, but that one finally did. First thing you need to do is enter the Passage of Artemis. Just walk close enough for it to trigger. Second thing, you need to place a decoy as a distraction once you're actually close enough. Third thing, which I'm going to go try and do now, is the Hunter Seeker. So, as you get closer, I'll use my sniper rifle to point this stuff out. This area is generally pretty open. You got a bit of a staircase up, and then all the chaos and chain minigun guys and a whole bunch of stuff is typically going on right here. May still be, but that's where a lot of enemies are. These enemies are very difficult. I'm at Duraluminum, and currently, like, my character stats with this guy are 648 armor. Armor mitigation is 56%. It's not like a heavy set of armor, but I am wearing the Duraluminum Scout armor. It's not bad, and I'm still taking a pretty chunky damage hits every time. So be careful about that. So once you get in here close enough, first thing you've got to do is get in here soon enough for it to trigger that you've got to be here. So that's step one. So somewhere around here, there's going to be plenty of guys around. Sometimes they're fighting each other, so be careful about that. Second thing, you just need to place, you can see all the guys in there. I need to place a Solido Decoy. And that's my decoy. So that would be step one. The next thing is the Hunter Seeker. So what they're trying to do is actually give you a place where you can kind of hide over here. And you'll notice if you get close enough where you can kind of tuck down here. And you notice I'm like 1 meter in, and you can actually see these little vents over here. This is where they actually want you to send the Hunter Seeker. So I would crouch down under here, and then we're going to go Hunter Seeker. And now you can see that we're going to try and go in here and deploy the Hunter Seeker. So I've got this little tunnel that's open. I'm going to try and fly in here. Same as Ornithopter flight, so just be careful. And you're looking for the enemy that is basically surrounded in white. So again, as we look around, try and figure out where we need to go. Trying to actually track it down is not as easy as I thought it would be.
Shield on. We've got incoming.
Oh, so that's the... And again, you want to try and go for about a headshot if you can. I don't know why I can't see him. So there he is. I'm going to try and go for...
Weapon empty. Kill them all.
Basically go for... There you go. So use the Hunter Seeker to assassinate the informant. That try did actually fail. I'm going to wait for a cooldown, and I'll at least show you what it looks like when it's successful, because that first one was a bit of a struggle. But I think you're going to need to fly in there. We'll try and actually show you a good one when it triggers. Alright, so we're going to give this a go. You're going to activate your Hunter Seeker. And what I'm going to do is, in this little area right over here, you can kind of see the glowing vent. What we're looking for is a yellow highlighted enemy once we get in this room. Once you see him, you need to use that dash ability. So that Q ability that you see. And there you go. So hold Q, kind of line up, and I don't know if a headshot is required. It may be, but it seems pretty close. So try and get a headshot towards the upper portion of the body. If it takes you more than one try, that is okay. Took me more than one try. And then the final thing they tell you is leave a poison mine to cover your tracks. I think it could literally be anywhere. I'm just going to kind of do it up here. And, oh, I've got really bad ping for some reason. I'm going to try and let that settle. All right, I'm going to see if I can get out of this with the ping. So if you hit, like, your poison mine button, I'm going to do that to try and cover my tracks. If I can actually get away. That should be all I need to do. And then we're going to report back to Zayn. So whatever ping thing is going on with my server, I usually have a really good connection, so this is a little odd. But head back to Artemis, head back to Zayn. We'll let them know what transpired here. But yeah, the biggest thing about the Hunter Seeker itself, as you guys can see, if I just stop right here and try and use it, it's going to be a little bit laggy. But you'll notice you've got the Q button to make that like dash attack, kind of like in Dune 1 in the movie when they're in Paul Atreides' bedroom. All you got to do is pretty much see if you can get close enough to an enemy, and then what you would do is just kind of charge that up and then go for that dash attack. That dash attack is your attack. So back to Zayn at Artemis, and then we will get to the last step of this quest. All right, so we're going to talk to Zayn. I think we're probably going to unlock our next top skill piece, and then we're going to head back for the final quest step. So I'm going to get through the dialogue and let you know what comes next. All right, so after you talk to Zayn and finish up the price of Rejection, you're going to get your second capstone unlocked. Then after you finish that up, talk to him again, and you'll start the final step of the quest. It's going to say you need to go to Pinnacle Station. When you enter Hagga Basin, do it from 12 o'clock, like top dead center, and that's going to be probably about as close as you could get to Pinnacle Station. So head back to Hagga Basin, head to Pinnacle Station, and we will cut forward to once I arrive there. Alright, if you just load in at 12 o'clock for Hagga Basin, you load in right at about here. I loaded in the middle of a snowstorm. Sorry, sandstorm. Could not see, vehicle took damage, that was beautiful. Anyway, fly down here to Pinnacle Station, and once you get here, we're actually going to talk to, looks like this guy right here. Should move the quest forward, so let me make sure that's all it is. Alright, so after you get done talking to our NPC, what you're going to need is a radiation suit. This is a must. Now you'll notice this is only 90% radiation mitigation. Sadly, that's not as high as it can go, because you can actually go higher, but you're not going to be able to until you start getting duraluminum. Now, if you've jumped ahead, you've done duraluminum, and this is like not your first rodeo in Sheol and radiation, take the Mark V. It's going to be a little better because we have to go explore a shipwreck, which is no joke. And this one's going to have a betteration of 92%. Now, that doesn't sound like a big difference, but when you talk about 90 to 92%, 20% slower buildup of radiation is actually substantial. The other thing is, if you have duraluminum already, the iodine pill is 3% more radiation mitigation. Again, this requires duraluminum, so if you've never done Sheol, exploration, and radiation, none of this is available. So I'm going to do this in the Mark IV, because that's where most people are going to start on this one. If you have the other two options, please wear them. It's only going to make this easier. And honestly, if you go do other exploration for duraluminum and get the crystals, which is jasmium, and you can do this with a higher thing and just save this for later, that's fine. No rush. But what we're going to do is we're going to go down here to Sheol, to the one big shipwreck in the middle of the radiation zone. Now, you'll notice by proximity to the edge that coming from the left-hand side of the map over here, if you picture like 6 o'clock, 7 o'clock, I'm going to go for about 8 o'clock over here. That's probably about as close as you can get, because the longer you spend in the radiation zone, the worse this all gets, basically. You'll notice we actually have a base over here. You can even drive a buggy over here and then use the buggy to actually pick up some of the jasmium, which is a very valuable resource that I've like scanned for, but it's a new week, so it's not showing. Jasmium is what you use to make duraluminum, so we've done this before. But if you're just going for flight to try and get to this shipwreck, you want to be as fast as possible. So that is why coming from about 8 o'clock, I will show you where that lands in, and then we're going to go in the shipwreck. Now, if you have time, and you're able to actually find what you need quickly, there's going to be good stuff in the shipwreck, irradiated slag, probably some decent blueprints, that kind of thing. But if you just want to do the quest and not die because if radiation gets too high, you're kaput. So that's not going to be too fun if this is your like first radiation suit. So my advice, one ornithopter, flying from about 8 o'clock, which should be somewhere in this realm, because if you go halfway up and down, but 9 o'clock should be somewhere in the middle, so 8 should be over here, and we're going to fly into there. But make sure you have your radiation suit on. That is an absolute must. I actually found this radiation suit exploring some outposts, so you can find them. If you do find one, make sure you keep it. And then other than that, make sure you bring a cut array, because some of the ships are going to have doors that you might need to cut open, depending on what you're fighting. And again, this is not going to be like light enemies, so you're going to want to bring some powerful weapons. Make sure at least it's some decent stuff. I'm even at duraluminum. I've still taken some shots. The other thing I might recommend bringing is a light, whether it's a glow tube, but at this point you probably should craft a personal light. Make sure you've got that you can turn on in case it gets dark. Other than that, make sure you're hydrated up, and make sure you don't really have to worry about too much, because once you're in, time is of the essence. So I'm going to fly to the overworld, and then I'm going to have you guys travel with me in the flight in and everything, and I'm going to look for it with you. If I can find a reasonable path, I'll go back and show you a direct path to it. So for now, I'm going to fly to the overworld, and we're going to go in together. Alright, so once you're in the overmap, we're going to load in at section 8. Now, you don't instantly load into radiation, so we're going to climb and get a little elevation first, but still is a good place to load into. We're going to go in at 8 on a clock. Once you load in, you'll get in your copter quick, just because you are still sitting on the desert. And once you load, I'm just going to get in, climb, and get some elevation. I did a little bit of a test to kind of figure out the best place to run to. And there is a side entrance that it actually wants you to go in. So to save yourself a little time, we're actually going to come in from that angle. So I'm just going to go straight up at this point and get up to about 700 meters. At this point, you do want to be high, so you can just kind of do a good nosedive into it. And what we're actually looking for is, if you see the ship edge, the part that's on the south, there's a side entrance right about there that you should probably be able to get to. Okay, under 750, so we can hover. So what you're looking for is about right here. This point right here is going to be kind of a side entrance. That's the actual quest marker. Then once that triggers, then it's going to give you the contract stuff that you need to get. While we're in here, I will show you where the band is and, you know, what you can do with that as well. But we're going to start with the quest stuff first. So we're up, we're elevated. We're going to go for the vulture drop. Bring that nose up and fly down pretty quick. And again, you can go straight for it. You don't want to spend too much time. As soon as you hit radiation, it starts to build up. Now, if you're going for the actual, like, minerals that are around here, the jasmium, when you stand in those little pools, the jasmium is brutal on your radiation. It's not as bad running around the ship as doing that, so it's not as much of a rush, but you still don't want to exactly dawdle. So, as you fly in, you're going to come in, and you should be able to see this piece right here. So we're going to go ahead and crouch down. And this is why I said bring glow tube, or bring a light with you, because you just want to turn that on and be able to look around. So when you come in the side, you're going to see the big red light over here. And then come over here. And you should have triggered by now to be able to actually see that it's telling you that you need to look for the quest information. So you should have triggered once you come in that door. This is the actual, like, door over here. To get in that door, since we're already over here, what you need to do is use a cut array, and you need to use it right over here. So if you use a cut array on this door, green band is in there, and that way you can go in there and get the good stuff as you're leaving. But what you want to do is actually try and head as far into the ship as you can. So if we come back looking at the green door, notice you can't really go too far forward over there. You actually can go this way and go back where we were. So again, you should have enough time. Trying to show you. So you see this little gap right here? So you're between the green secret door and kind of the red tunnel that you came through. Look for this break. This is why the light's so important, even though it is flashing at you. There's a chest right there, so grab it. And then once you're in this bigger room, you're going to be heading forward. We got about 90 meters to go. Full suspensor belt is going to do you wonders in here. Grab a couple chests. They're going to have some good things in here. Nice way to stock up on some items, some irradiated slag. Looks like we've got some color down here. So we're going to be going through here for the purple band. can go up this direction. Now we're back in the same room with that chest here. But now if you go forward, should be able to get to what we're going for. So you cannot see much of a damn thing in here. But again, that's where you get the purple band, and the purple band should have what we need because we're about 30 meters away from it. Actually, what we need is over here on this table. So this is what you're looking for. You've got the data pad, but while you're here, you may as well grab the purple gear because we're doing fine on radiation. So come in here, grab your cool chest, I'm sure. Big glowy guy. Doesn't look like there's really any enemies in here, which logically makes sense. It's just pure radiation. They should not just be hanging out. Here's going to be small chest, and then big chest. Grab that one, and then what you can do is honestly just find any more chests that you've got. You should be able to get outside if you want. Radiation is building up. You don't want to like take too long here. This will get you outside, but you're going to be on the other side of the ship, so what you want to do is get a little elevation, start flying. You want to make sure you're pointed south, go towards your ornithopter, and then get out of here. So I'm still only at half even with that run through. But again, make sure even the purple band is not required, but that's kind of the direction you're going to go. It's dark in there. So if you want, I can show you guys one more time from the side. If you missed it the first time, this is where we're going to go for straight in. You're going to see the red tunnel. You're going to turn to the right. And then you're going to go right over here looking for this break in the wall. You're going to drop down. And then from here, we're going to go up this direction. So if you see this holographic projection kind of on the table in the chest, all you got to do is come forward from the door. Go a little bit left. And then if you see the purple door, even if you don't have the ID band, head to the right and your gold chest is over there. If you want to head out the same way, you're going to head back away from the purple door until you find a wall. Turn left. And then as soon as you can turn right, look for this one to come up. If you see the projection, you know you're going the right direction. And again here, if you see this little batch of sand, go around this big, like, giant corridor with the flashing light. You're going to jump up, climb your way out, turn to the right towards the red light, and then exit over here. So if I have enough time to do this twice and show you, you should be okay. Just take your time, follow the guidance. Hopefully that second one will help you a little bit. And then from here, easiest thing you want to do is just head due west. Get enough elevation to start getting some speed under your wings. 450 is probably pretty good. Keep holding forward. Get a swing here, and then just get enough elevation to be able to glide. I always get just barely under that line, so I'm kind of losing a little bit elevation, but keeping that 160 speed. As you glide out, as soon as you hit this brown area, the radiation will start dropping away. And you should be good. Perfect. Alright, so at this point, head back to the overmap, head back to Arakeen, and I will see you back there to finish things up with Zayn. Alright, that should be it. So, we got a pretty amazing rifle, actually. So this is semi-automatic, 2 clips in the magazine, but massive damage. I'm even on a duraluminum rifle right now, and I'm 149. This thing hits for 262. So huge recommendation to do this, because if you like sniping at all, this is going to be really big damage for it. Definitely a good one. And other than that, now you know the Mentat. So enjoy your skills, experiment with what you've got. And again, remember you can respec your skill trees every 48 hours or something like that. So if you learned something from the video, please drop a like below. If you know other people that can use it, please share it with them. If you want to just say hello, comments are always great for all that and everything else. But if you enjoy my content and want to see more, please hit that subscribe button. Find me on Twitch, Twitter, Blue Sky, Patreon, right here on YouTube, subscription, or even a membership. Thank you for watching. Hopefully you enjoyed, and hope to see you back for the next one. Have a good one.